am Ariane. This is Book Zealots, and I've been meaning to do this for a while. I have a whole bunch of ideas for videos that I want to do, but, notes. And if you've been watching us for any length of time, you know that the only time we have notes is for booktube tags, so that I know what the prompts are, the questions. I don't like writing a script or anything like that. It's totally off the cuff and, warts and all, basically. However, there have been a lot of topics that have been coming up, and I've been really intrigued by them. And I've started writing out pretty much my own questions about these topics that have come up. And so I've been writing out information on them, and I just thought I would share. So I will be looking down at my notes and I will be sharing. So basically this is when to know to DNF a book or when to push through, and how do you decide to do that. And apparently this is really challenging for people. And I know even for myself, there have been times where I'm reading a book and it's just not sitting right with me. And I don't know if I should DNF it or if I should try reading, just push through it and give it a chance. There have been, I'm going to use an example. The Dr. Wardle's School is an excellent example. I was thinking about DNFing it. And I had to remind myself, it's an older book. They wrote differently back then. Calm down. Just go with the book. It will get better. Now, most of the time that isn't true. As per my experience, maybe your experience is different. However, yes, it got better. It got so much better. Now, The Warden, on the other hand, I really wish I had DNF'd that book. But anyway, so let's get back to this. So I have, number one, what are your standards and what are you willing to tolerate? And I think that would help in making a decision on when to DNF a book. So number one, you don't like the language or the words used. So for instance, foul language. I recently DNF'd a book. It wasn't solely because of the language, the foul language used, F-bombs when they're not even necessary, etc. That's obviously a personal choice. All of these are going to be personal choices because our standards are different. We're all different readers. If I were to read David Goggin, his book, one of his books, I haven't read the other one, is filled with foul language. He had a ghostwriter, but on average, there was an F-bomb per page. It was ridiculous. It was still worth reading. But for fiction, not necessary. It's not necessary in the nonfiction either, but there was more tolerance for reading his story because that's his language. Did I like it? No. Did I like the book? Parts of it. It was interesting. That man drives himself hard. Okay. Anyway. So something that is extremely offensive in the book also might be a deal breaker. If, we all have different trigger points. If something happens in a book that you don't like, might be the breaking point. And you might say, you know what? I'm done. This book went too far. The author went too far for me, and I need to DNF it. And that is perfectly okay. There are plenty of books to read. Plenty of books to read. Number two, you don't like the main character or any of the other characters. Now, I do know recently another booktuber was reading this Chunkamunka book, and she got so far into this book and she did not like any of the characters. There's no character growth, and I don't know how she got so far into the book. And she just kept pushing through. I have the same book and I am hesitant to even start it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might try a chapter maybe and skim through it. I don't know. So she finally had a breaking point and she DNF'd it. And yes, kudos. Good for her. I'm glad she did. I don't know that I could have made it as far as she did. Also, What if an author contradicts something that they wrote? Would that be a breaking point for you? If you're reading a book and you read something that the author writes about a character, and then in another chapter the author contradicts themselves, or the character contradicts themselves, it makes it so that the main character, or that character in the book, is untrustworthy. Now, I know there are books out there where the characters, that seem to be a trope or something, an untrustworthy main character. I don't think I've read any books like that. Let me know if you've read a book like that. I'm not sure. Anyway, so that might be something else, another reason to DNF a book. Number 3, the writing style is annoying, or it's juvenile. It's telling you, not showing you. I just recently DNF'd a book that was like that. It felt juvenile to me, and I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't like the topics. I didn't like the inappropriate conversations that the main character was having with other characters. So, I mean, it was just one thing after another, and I just said, no, I'm done. This book is not getting a pass. I'm done. Number 4, do you care about anything in the book? So, for instance, is it a mystery? Do you care how it ends? I have 2 books that have been recommended. Actually, it's a series, and I have tried 2 of them. Actually, I had 3 books. I've tried 2 of them, and I soft DNF'd them both. I don't think I'm going to continue them because I don't care. So number 5, you are easily distracted, or you're grabbing for other books. So for instance, book ADHD, something that I talk about. If you're supposed to be reading a book, but another book is screaming at you, but I'm better, read me, read me. Avoiding a book that you're currently supposed to be reading. If you started a book and you put that book down, and the thought of going back to you just does not excite you, that might be your brain saying, you know what, I'm not interested in this book, I need to DNF it. Let's see, number 6, if you are stressed to finish the book, I would recommend walking away. To soft DNF it, set it aside. I don't think that there should be pressure to finish a book just to finish a book. If you're not enjoying it, it isn't giving you joy or pleasure or what have you, you're not interested in the characters, and maybe it's just you, maybe you're in a stressful point in your life or the day or whatever. That's happened. I mean, I know when it's me. I know if there's a book that I want to read or think that I want to read it, but I recognize that there are other things in my life going on that are distracting me. I know it's me, not the book. I'll set the book aside, deal with that, whatever is going on in life, and then get back to the book at another time. Let's see. Number 7, if you are even questioning about reading it or finishing the book, I would say set it aside for a week. And if you are relieved that you set the book aside, I would say just hard DNF it. If you are thinking about the book though, and thinking, oh, but that happened, and then this person, and kind of liked that, then maybe pick it up again. Let's see. So part of the knowing it's not the book, it's you. When you break up, it's not you, it's me. You know what I'm talking about, right? Are you in the mood for the book that you are considering DNFing, or thinking of another book? Just grab the other book. Just grab the other book. If you're thinking about another book, grab the other book. Because we're all mood readers, and Just grab the other book. Why are you reading the book? Are you reading the book that you're thinking about DNFing because of hype or peer pressure, or because it was a gift? Because if it was a gift, then you feel guilty for not reading it. Some people do that. I don't do that. I don't do guilt. Yeah. It's, you know, buddy read. That would be an excellent example. If you're buddy reading and you don't want to let your friend down, that is legit. Thankfully, there have been a lot of buddy reads that I have had. Most people have DNF'd and stopped, but there was one book that I was reading with a friend, and she and I both DNF'd it. For some reason, I thought she had finished it, but she said no, she DNF'd it too. And I'm like, okay, we've got to try this again. I don't know, maybe another book, but she and I did read. I'm getting off topic. Squirrel, sorry. Okay, is the book a slow burn? For instance, the Dr. Wardle's School by Anthony Trollope is a slow burn. Charles Dickens' books are slow burns. Even though, so for instance, Our Mutual Friend, something happens, a mystery happens pretty much straight away in the book, but it's still a slow burn. There are a ton of characters and a ton of side stories, so you've got to keep everything straight. And that's a good book, by the way. I don't recommend DNFing that book. Don't hard DNF that book. Give it a chance. So that's one. Is it a slow burn? Do you have the patience to work through it? If you don't, set it aside. Or do you prefer faster paced books? A lot of modern books are faster paced books because people today just don't have the patience. You know that, what was that myth going around the internet, that people have the attention span of a goldfish? Let me know if you have an attention span of a goldfish. So, you know, there are books that are more action-packed, that are there's something constantly happening. Those are more modern books that are action-packed, that they're faster paced, and some people prefer those. I just finished 3 of them this month, so you know, there's a time and a place for all types of books. Another one, try selecting a random page from the book that you're considering to DNF and go over it, and if something catches your attention, keep reading, and then if you want to go back to where you stopped, then go back, but if you don't, just keep reading and finish it. Usually when I do that, it lets me know pretty much straight away, yeah, you're making the right decision to DNF this book. And one of the things I love, if I give a book to Prometheus to look for anything that is inappropriate, I don't know how he does it. He gets to a random page and says, oh, yep, it has this, or he'll show me, and I'm like, thank you, DNFing this. I don't know how he does that, but he does. Let's see. Okay, so did that page draw you in, or do you still dislike it? And then just make your decision. Why are you afraid to DNF a book? And I don't know if afraid is the right wording for that. Maybe, you know, maybe it is the hype of the book and you feel like there's FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's a book. You're not missing out on anything, trust me. It's just a stupid book, okay? Yes, I said it. Some books are stupid. Okay, so if you are afraid to DNF the book, are you gleaning anything from it? Is there any redeeming quality about this book? Or, for instance, one of the books that I DNF'd, it was a good concept, but it wasn't very well executed. It wasn't written well. And so I just decided this is not a book for me. I'm not ever going to read anything from that author. It's the second book of hers that I have tried that I have also DNF'd, so she's done. But, oh, and some people recommend reading 100 pages. I disagree with that. There are some books where you can tell straight away whether it's going to be a book for you or not. There have been books that I know other booktubers had recommended, and I think I read 3 pages of some of them, 1 or 2 of them, and knew immediately. They were vain, vapid characters, just shallow, just superficial. The language was not to my, no. It was, really wish those booktubers had been a little bit more forthcoming about what was actually in those books. Okay, so anyway, so if you take the book that you're going to DNF, set it aside, and you don't think about it, you know, I don't know, pick a time, and you haven't thought about it, then you probably aren't interested in it, and you probably just need to get rid of it. And the second aspect of that is, you did think about it and you do want to try it again, go ahead and put it back on your shelves, you know, put it back in rotation or whatever, and give it another try. But if not, it's okay to unhaul the book and you tried. Or even maybe it's not the right time, which again, it's me, not you. You know, it's me, not the book. When I was younger, I think I was in elementary school, I used my allowance money of a whopping $5 to buy books from Scholastics. And I would budget as best I could to get the most books. There was one book that I had, and I had tried reading it 2 times and couldn't get into it. And I just kept putting it on I twice put it back on my shelf. And the 3rd time I picked it up, I didn't have anything else to read. Sometimes read my mom and dad's books. Not appropriate for little children. Anyway, so I remember picking it up, and the 3rd time that I tried reading it, I flew through it, and I couldn't understand. It was the same book. I don't understand why I couldn't get through it the first 2 times. I remember having a conversation with my mom about it, and she said, well, sometimes it's just not the right time. Okay, lady, whatever. Anyway, so if you do decide to say goodbye to a book, it's okay. And if you have an OCD to finish a book, like my brother does, my brother has to finish a book, even if he isn't enjoying it, and he has to read it, he has to finish it before he's allowed to start another book. That is his OCD. So if you have OCD, that's fine too. Anyway, so that's a whole other topic. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave a comment down below, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.